Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Lucas Live. My name is Lucas Tyndale. I am here with a phenomenal guest today. Her name is Michelle Hay, and she is here today to talk to us a little bit about her work and the work that many others are doing to stop and help those who are dealing with human trafficking. It is a serious subject that I think many of us have a base understanding of or some awareness of, but we don't know enough. I can say that for myself, and many people I know probably don't know enough. So I hope that you lean in today and listen on organizations and information that can support you, your children, your family, if you know someone who's gone through this, or if you're just generally concerned about how do you protect your children or yourself. We're going to talk about it today. I'm so excited to welcome my guest. She is here representing a great cause that's coming up, Freedom Cry. It's promoting awareness and action to end human trafficking. It is hosted by Frontline Ministries International. And today we have Michelle. Hey, how are you today?
I'm good. It's wonderful to be here.
I'm excited to have you. We went to school together, but we didn't realize it.
No, we keep trying to figure this out.
But we're like, you're so familiar. I know you, right? So we both are McKinley graduates.
Yes, very proud.
Shout out to the Bulldogs. Shout out to Camp
Shout
McKinley. And we know so many of the same people, and we connected on social media. And we started talking about this, an event coming up soon. For those who are listening or watching this within this small time frame, and I'm sure this hopefully will be something that happens every year and something you can keep up with and learn more about. But talk to us a little bit. Let's start with a little about who you are. Okay.
Sure.
You're a wife, you're a mother, and you're a magistrate. That's what I understand about you. But talk to us a little bit more about you first.
Sure. Well, proud Canton McKinley graduate, and I live in Stark County. I live in Massillon, but I don't hold that against myself, being a McKinley grad. And I know.
We'll let it go. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's not your fault.
And I went to high school in McKinley. Just really, that was an incredible experience. Really, some things that happened at McKinley set the course for the rest of my life. So I'm so thankful for my friends there and my time there. Went to college, went to law school here in Ohio. I've been a practicing attorney since 2009.
Congratulations. Super cool.
Thank you. It is cool. And yes, wife and mom of 2 little boys. So if you see bags under my eyes, you know why. It's not the job, it's the children.
It's the children. They got you. They get you every time. Okay. Love that. Love that. Love that. And you're a woman of faith. You're a person who feels like you believe that you're called to do the work that you're doing. Just share that a little bit, because I know that's going to resonate with a lot of our audience out there who are like, either one, they're trying to find their way on their journey, as we all are in some ways, right? Or they're trying to find purpose in their journey. And it sounds like through the organization that you're working with and you're working around human trafficking, is something that you feel passionate about. So talk to me a little bit about how your faith journey has impacted where you are today.
Sure. Wow, that's a big question. So, I would say it was, just to share a little bit about the journey.
Sure.
In high school, I was connected with Frontline Ministries International. Frontline Ministries is an organization based here in Massillon, Ohio, and they've been around. They're led by Bill and Mary Pat Gokee, who are both pastors and husband and wife.
Okay.
Founded it in the 90s, I believe 1995, and started doing a lot of international overseas missions, taking groups of teens and young adults. And so I got connected with them when I was in high school, and long story short, went on my first mission trip to Ghana, West Africa, and it just really opened my eyes to, wow, there's a whole world out there, both locally and internationally, beyond myself, and really felt just this deep stirring to, know God, to understand my purpose, but that my purpose was not just to live my own life and be happy and do stuff for myself, but to help other people. And so Frontline got involved with anti-human trafficking because just kind of by nature, they do a lot of work here locally in different areas of the community, but also internationally. And so, like, for instance, in Brazil, we do a lot of work in the favelas or slums in Sao Paulo. There's a lot of children there. There's a lot of children who, forced into prostitution or just different things, or get in the drug trafficking lifestyle, or even in Ghana where we work, in northern Ghana, there's a lot of labor trafficking that happens with the fishing industry, where small children are forced to go and be the ones to go into the water and untangle the fishing nets. Sometimes they drown in the process. It can be very dangerous. And this is just giving a little anecdotes, but I think, Frontline started to become aware that, wow, these countries we're going to, to share the love of God. There's also so many vulnerable populations, and there's human trafficking that's, happening. And I think society has become a lot more aware about human trafficking probably in
Yeah.
the last couple decades, because
Yeah.
I think a lot of us didn't understand
No.
it was happening, or if we did, we're like,
We
well,
thought people
that's,
got kidnapped or something, but we didn't know
yeah,
what happened after that.
we
We thought it
didn't.
was I would say for me, it was like someone was kidnapped. It's probably a relative or a neighbor or somebody who we don't know, and we hope that they're somewhere at least alive, even if they've gone through some level of abuse. Not knowing when I heard human trafficking and sex trafficking and you're talking about labor trafficking, things like that aren't even the nuances of that, because you're breaking it down into labor and all these other things. It's like, what does that mean? Like, that doesn't even sound like a thing. And we meanwhile see so many missing children, and we're just like, they're just still missing. Decades later, we don't know whatever happened. And you're saying that a part of this a big part of the problem is there's actually human trafficking where they're being used for some reason.
Oh, for sure. And when I started researching and educating myself, I mean, there are tens of millions of children and adults who are being trafficked in the world globally. I mean, it's a
Wow.
multi-billion-dollar industry. And someone
Wow.
described it to me, and it just gave me chills down my spine, because they say,
Mm.
think about drug trafficking and weapons trafficking.
Mhm.
These are huge multi-billion-dollar
Right.
industries in the world. Well, you sell a drug, you can sell a drug once, but you sell a person, you can sell them over and over and over and over. And so it's starting to
Wow.
creep up in terms of frequency and the money that it's bringing in,
Mm.
even with the drug and arms trade. And so,
Wow.
yeah, we're talking tens of millions of children. In the United States, I believe the last statistic I saw, the average age of a trafficked child is 11. Or
Wow.
so, and it's not. We think of the movie Taken or whatever,
Yeah,
where it's like
yeah.
this black van pulls up and
Right.
grabs your child, and
Yeah.
that can happen. But I think what we're understanding is that it can be a lot more insidious than that. There can be things
Mm.
that start on social media where it's like an older boyfriend, and
Mm.
you could see people being groomed for years. They think they're in a relationship, and then
Wow.
it's like, oh, I need a little money. I need you to do this for me, and then it
Mm.
turns into trafficking. Or someone who goes into prostitution, wanting to earn a living, thinking it's going to be like Pretty Woman, and it's not. I mean,
Mm.
and there's places in the
It's
States, like
deep.
outside Las Vegas, where it's legal, and you think, oh, it's glamorous. Well, it may start out that way, but I mean, statistics show that, those who are in the escort business or whatever, about 100% have been abused.
Mm.
You may think you're going in there on your own volition and you're gonna,
You're
be your own
empowered
business
and you're
person,
right.
but at some point, someone will come into the picture,
Mm.
be it a debt owed, or be it drug addiction, or different things that happen in
Mm.
that life. And, and so next thing you know, someone's taking control of your life and taking, your identification or whatever, and is holding this debt
Right.
above your head or whatever it is, or
Right.
blackmail or video of you. And
Wow.
now you're being trafficked. So it's very pervasive. And Ohio, I believe, is still fourth in the nation for human trafficking.
That's I've heard statistics about that, about Ohio being up there, which is fascinating. Why? What causes, I would assume, I thought coastal states would have a higher propensity, because if you get someone in Miami, you can take them to a country outside of the United States or something like that. Like, maybe that was just in my head, or
No, I thought that too.
Texas, and you take them into Mexico or something like that. But it's happening right here in Ohio.
It is. I mean, from my limited understanding, and please come to Freedom Cry, and we're gonna
Let's
have a
well,
whole
definitely
panel of
talk
speakers.
about that. I
But I
love that.
think one of the
Yes.
things I've heard is Ohio does share a border with Canada, and so you have international trafficking happening
Oh,
through
that
Canada,
does.
and
Okay.
also our highway. We have a very robust highway system. For better or for
Mm.
worse, all the construction and the
Yeah, so
roads,
it's always those orange
but we
cones,
have
but
really, really great and efficient interstate highways, and so people will traffic across Ohio.
mm,
It's just become very prevalent.
very
But
sad.
it's very sad, and it can be overwhelming, and almost we want to plug our ears and think, bury our heads in the sand, like, I don't want to know about this. I just want to
Mhm,
pretend it's not going on. But I think one of the wonderful things about Freedom Cry, we've been hosting this event yearly since 2013,
mhm.
is that it's at Frontline Worship Center in Jackson Township, and we want to share a message of hope as well, that there are people who are coming out of this, and
Yeah,
not only coming out that, okay, now I'm not being trafficked anymore, but there can be trauma that happens. There can be, wounds of
sure.
the heart. Obviously, imagine being trafficked, and
Right.
all the emotional strife that can happen. But every year we have someone who's been a survivor and overcomer of trafficking
Mm,
come and share their story of, yes, this happened. It was horrific. But, and for our guests this year and other guests, for them, it was, I really had God used somebody or some situation to bring me out of this. And then there was hope. There was healing of my heart. There was forgiveness. There was, the shame taken away. And now I'm living my life to help other people. And
Wow.
it's, a story of redemption. So I think there are a lot of really great things going on in
Mhm.
Ohio. And I think across different professional disciplines, people in the schools, parents, people
Yeah.
becoming more informed. There's so much good that's happening and there is hope.
That's really good because it sounds like it could be a very hopeless situation. And we know there's always hope, and hope is beyond us, right? Like our
Hmm.
hope is in God that He will find a way to help people out there. Because when you think of someone so young, the average age being 11, it's like your mind. I can't even imagine. And as a father, and I have 3 girls and 1 son. If we
Mm.
could speak to that, is it more likely for a female, a young lady, to be trafficked?
It is more likely, I believe, and don't quote me on the stat, but at one point recently, in the United States, I think it was like around 70 to 80% girls being trafficked, but then the rest was boys, and that was more than I thought. I thought, well, maybe it's only
Sure.
2-3% boys,
Right, right.
but it is happening to with boys, and labor trafficking and sex trafficking,
Mhm.
and we have. I can get to some of our guests, but
Mhm.
one of our guests works with an organization that does sort of hope and heal, like retreats for people who have come out of trafficking,
Yeah,
and an opportunity for them to just breathe and be
yeah,
poured into and receive, mentorship and
yeah.
just faith, and they have had them where it's all male survivors of trafficking, which
Wow.
I was blown away by that, that is really happening. And a lot of it, there's a lot of can be guilt and shame attached to that, and so
Sure,
people don't want to
sure.
talk about it happening, or they want to push it under the rug like it never happened. But I think it is certainly affecting our young men, and men of every age. And last year we had a speaker come actually from Amsterdam, and our ministry's done a lot of work in red light districts, both in
Mhm,
Amsterdam, Singapore, and other places, Cambodia.
mhm.
And he spoke because he has a ministry in the red light district to be a relief center for those who are in legal prostitution but have
Mm.
been
So
trafficked.
what's a red light district for those that
Oh,
don't
sorry.
know?
So a red
No,
light
it's okay.
district is an area where it's prostitution has been made legal. So it
Right.
may not be like in Singapore, it's one specific area of the city where they have
Interesting.
streets that are lined, and there's red lights a lot of times. They're lined with
Mm.
different brothels where you have, I mean, in Singapore, it's interesting because a different street will be a different national, like the Indian people here and the Thai people here, and you can pick
Mm.
which street and what kind of ethnicity of person you want. It's very much a meat
Wow.
market. But so it's a red light
Wow.
district is an area of a place that prostitution is legal. However, my understanding is even in Amsterdam, which is a very famous red light district, people go there
Mhm.
to, as a tourism thing, and they think it's like fun and games. But
Mm.
there's been so much illegal activity and smuggling of children and things that have been happening there
Wow.
that I believe the mayor or some local government authority in Amsterdam is wanting to shut that down
Right.
because, they found that, well, legalizing it isn't necessarily the answer.
Right. Fascinating because you do hear about things like, um, if you legalize things, it allows it to be, properly guarded and managed and all these things, but something like that is just I don't know. I just can't even imagine the reason for it even to be legal or whatever. It's very sad. So talk to us a little bit about the upcoming event and maybe some of the speakers and some of the things that people
Sure.
can look forward to if they were to attend.
Absolutely. I just want to refer to my notes here, but
Sure.
it's incredible. I mean, just who God's brought together and who connected us with. Our survivor, overcomer of trafficking, her name is Dr. Marlene Carson,
Mhm.
and she is actually chair of the United States Advisory Board on Human Trafficking. So
Wow.
she's for the whole administration. She's the chair. She's an
Mhm.
incredible woman.
That's
She's a
awesome.
black woman from Columbus. She has an incredible
Wow,
story.
interesting.
She was trafficked as a teenager and just has an
Wow.
amazing story. And she's also founder and executive director of Black Leaders Against Sex Trafficking, or
Mm,
BLAST. You can look them up
love that.
online. And she really felt that, after coming out of the life and wanting to devote her life and career to helping people, that there was
Mhm.
really a gap in the Black community in terms of people who were addressing specific needs of the Black community, awareness and all of that. So she's focused, I mean, she's working with all,
Sure.
races and nationalities, but that's been a
Yes.
focus of hers as a Black woman. She just has such a powerful story. And then we have Dana Hess. She's a former sergeant in Columbus and was director of the Ohio Attorney General's Central Ohio Human Trafficking Task Force. She spoke a couple years ago. Incredible. She helped to lead one of the biggest sting operations in Ohio history. I think over 100 rescued out of trafficking.
Wow.
She is now president. She's out of law enforcement, but she's president of the SOAP Project, which is Save Our Adolescents from Prostitution. They work a lot on bringing awareness to youth and children. And we have our directors of Frontline Ministries International, Bill and Mary Pat Gokee, who will both be speaking. And
Awesome.
they're just incredible to hear from. So many amazing stories and testimonies. And then we have Lieutenant Jason Collins, who's a patrol lieutenant in Jackson Township, who's going to be sharing. We always like to hear from law enforcement and what's happening.
And
You know,
locally, that's powerful.
locally. It is. And
Yeah.
you know, also, law enforcement, they are trying to, because I think that the view and paradigm is shift from, okay, these are prostitutes, they're criminals, lock them up, to, now the laws change. It's like, well, this is a potentially probably victimized person. Let's get them
Wow.
services, let's get them help, not let's criminalize this. And I
Interesting.
feel
That's
like,
good.
yeah, things are shifting in the courts and in law enforcement where they're really trying to look at this as, let's get this person help. So law enforcement, I know a lot of police departments are trying to educate themselves. So if they come into a situation, they, go into a hotel room and there's a drug bust, but yet there's like prostitution going on too. Well, what's going on here? Does there need to be a trafficking charge? Do we need to get this person to victim's assistance? What are the
Interesting.
exigent circumstances? So anyway,
If I could ask you your
sure.
legal thoughts on that, not necessarily your legal opinion here, but as an attorney, as a magistrate, when you think about what is right and wrong as far as if prostitution is illegal, should these people be prosecuted and thrown in jail because it doesn't matter what happened years ago? You had a choice to get out of it and you didn't, and you're making money and you benefited from this or something. Or do you think there should be some grace granted and or some immunity to prosecution? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with some of the things that you just put forth, and I think that's the paradigm that we're seeing shifted that I think is good because. So, instance, you have there's something called Catch Court in Columbus. It was started by Judge Herbert, I believe Paul Herbert is his name. He got the idea. He's a man of faith in a dream, actually,
Wow.
which he felt was from God, to start this catch court where it's a specialized docket. And we have a lot of those. We have those for veterans. We have them for, those who are caught in drug addictions, but specifically for those who are coming out of prostitution / trafficking to, yes, let's talk about what you may have committed some crimes along with the prostitution, but you have needs, counseling needs, you need a place to stay, you need trying to address the needs and not just bring punishment, but bring hope. And they had a whole program where it's like, if you may get these charges reduced if you do XYZ, or you can work on the drug addiction, or you can get counseling or whatever. Just trying to, what you said. I mean, it's not that all the, criminal activity that may have happened is wiped away, but maybe some of it. And I think, trying to address different dynamics that are happening and not just look at it as black and white, crime or not crime. But then also the Johns, I think Attorney General Dave Yost is trying to make it a point that if you purchase sex in Ohio, there's going to be punishment for it. And just seeing some of the penalties for that, because there has to be a demand for this to exist. There has to be a demand for children for this to exist.
That's true.
And, I think there's efforts there it used to just be, well, it's just the woman, she's the one, the prostitute. Well, not, but just looking at it like, oh, it's the bad prostitute.
You're right.
But the John, you just get a slap on the wrist. Well, you had to go on the internet, try to find a child, try to, meet them here, whatever. And so I think there's been more trying to be done to help to punish the Johns and the traffickers. Obviously these.
I can't believe that there had to be effort to be done for more to punish the people who are participating in looking for women at all, and certainly young girls and things like this. Like you said, if there wasn't a demand, there would be no opportunity to supply that demand, and there would be no reason to traffic anyone. Nobody's trafficking something no one wants to buy. So, which is why you go to a store and it's like somebody put that product out there, that product didn't sell, that product doesn't exist. But this demand has been around since the beginning of time, right? I mean, prostitution is something that's going on in the Bible where there's prostitutes there, which is, I don't know. I think it's a sad reality. And I think something has to be done all around a more holistic approach probably to solving this problem. But it is frightening. And I would say, again, I have 3 girls and 1 son. And not to say I've been asking my wife a lot lately. I'm like, what is it like to be a woman? Because I travel all over the country. I go in different places. I was in Chicago on St. Patrick's Day, and I got there late in the evening, and it was cool. The river was blue. I mean, the river was green. It was super cool. But I mean, like I was following my GPS to walk from my hotel to a restaurant downtown at night, and I made a wrong turn, and the easiest way to come back to where I need to be was coming up this alley, and it looked like a horror movie. It was like dark, dirty. It smelled crazy. There were some people kind of in the corner, like some homeless people. There was a lot going on, and I'm like, let me just walk down this alley. Like, I wasn't even thinking about it. Like, I mean, I thought about it almost like this is crazy, but I'm gonna get where I'm going faster as a man. I walk through airports. I got my AirPods in. I'm just bopping around, whatever, you know. And I'm like, man, as a man, I am aware. I do pay attention, but not like somebody's about to snatch me, you know. And I talked to my wife, and she's like, yeah, I'm always looking. I'm very aware. She's like, I'm not scared, but I'm not taking it for granted that I always have to be watching my back and paying attention to the energy and the people and the way men are approaching me and other things like that. And I just think that's a fascinating and almost unfortunate way that people have to live.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, yeah, you're getting into some deep areas, and I do think, some of the things I've learned is that the exponential increase. I mean, yes, prostitution's been going on forever. You
Yeah.
talk about trafficking of children, like sex tourism and all these things.
Mm,
One of the things that's exploded the industry, I think, is the internet, and the internet's a
mm,
wonderful thing. But the pornography industry, I mean, just learning about that and how that's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and how there's a demand for child porn,
mm.
and the psyche behind people in the safety of their own homes,
Yeah.
looking at certain things on the internet, and then. I think I read don't quote me on this. Well,
Hmm.
now I'm being quoted, but
Sure.
where the trigger in the brain. So like if you take, like, say you do cocaine, that
Yes.
high you get in the brain.
Right.
Well, if you look at pornography like that, or that addiction that you get, it can become an addiction, and it can become something that you want. Like you see child porn,
Yes.
and now you want to seek that out, and now there's
Wow.
the internet where you can go find it, whereas before you had to, like, maybe drive to a certain place in town, or like,
Sure. Sure. How do you find?
how do
Yeah.
you even
Right.
find, or
Right.
whatever. But
Right.
now it's like there's
From behind your
Backpage, and
computer or
there's
phone, you can access not only visually seeing something, there's then means to meet up with
to
people.
find, and I think that it's become easier
Yeah.
to find that, and so maybe it's become more
Mm.
popular, and also it's just sort of, I mean, not to get too deep, but I mean, the
Sure.
like there's a documentary film out there called Nefarious, that talks about trafficking, and they're interviewing men in, I think, Thailand or Cambodia, who were going to try to find children in these villages,
Mhm.
and one of the men said something like, "Well, this is just part of their culture here. Kids just have sex younger, and it's fine." Like they, in their mind, they've created this reality where it's okay to
Wow.
rape a child because that's just how they are in their culture here. So I wouldn't do that
Wow.
in America, but I'll come to Asia and do it. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So it's just crazy and insidious, and but we need more awareness, and social, like you talk about the internet, you talk about protecting our children. I think, social media has become a big tool in the hands of traffickers and, would
Mhm.
be abusers, and so we need to get a handle on how to protect our children from that.
Fascinating. We had a wonderful episode with the lady Christian Turner. I don't know if you know Christian. She was worked for Attorney Kyle Stone, prosecutor, Stark County Prosecutor Kyle Stone. Shout out to him. And she's now working for the mayor's office. And her episode, just a few episodes ago, we talked about internet safety. And it is a
Hmm.
big deal, and it is something that it's easy to take for granted. It's easy to hand our children a phone, a tablet, a device, and they're quiet or they're having fun or they're distracted, and we can then stare at our phones and devices and live our lives.
I get it. I got little kids.
I got kids too. I always say the day they all got a device, and my kids are older now, and it was like it was a Nintendo DS or something, and they all had
Oh.
one, and I was like, everybody's quiet. And then one day it connected to the internet. I was like, oh, that's different. And then it was the Wild West. You didn't know what to tell them to do or not to do. You assumed that they couldn't get to bad things from a Nintendo device, but I mean, it was silly to think that. And now there's even children's games, even like Roblox and some of these other little games that are kid games, but an adult who's looking to prey on a child will go to where children play and try to get closer to them. When we talk about human trafficking overall, and we'll wrap this up. I think this is a very great conversation. What is human trafficking for those who just to kind of put out a general definition
Sure.
of human trafficking as a whole? Because I hear it and I'm like, I think I know, but I don't think I know. Like, you know what I mean? I think I know, but I don't think I know.
So just to, I mean, to boil it down, I would say, the unlawful act of, well, this is the law, the
Sure.
unlawful act of transporting or coercing people in order to benefit from their work or service, typically in the form of forced labor or sexual exploitation. So it's, coercing somebody to have sex for money, labor for money under force, fraud, or coercion.
Mhm.
And we'll really get into the nitty gritty of that at the event and kind of what we've seen here in Stark County and also globally.
Yeah.
What are the industries where this can be, a hotbed? What are it, for and this event is free and open to the public,
Mhm.
and lunch is provided. It's
And
from
tell us when this event
Oh,
is and again
sure.
where it is.
It's this Saturday, May
Uh-huh.
18th at
Okay.
Frontline Worship Center in Jackson Township. It's 6200 Wales Avenue, Massillon, Ohio,
Mhm.
very close to Jackson High School and River Tree Church.
Okay.
And that'll be 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Again, it is free. And we'll really go over, I mean, there's a number of areas listed here that I want to highlight because
Mhm.
really, if you
Sure.
know nothing about trafficking, if like me when I started getting into this, or a lot about trafficking, there's something for everyone. Training on identifying and assisting human trafficking victims. So, there could be situations, and there's people who've left our conference and like the next day have seen something that
Wow.
since what they learned, they're like, that didn't look right. And we're able to report
Wow.
it and learn how to report
That's
that
awesome.
and, potentially usurp something from happening. So you'll
Yeah.
learn how to identify it, risk factors, what are the transformative solutions being offered by social services, nonprofits for vulnerable and at-risk youth and adults or those who have been trafficked. One of the interesting things talking about technology, we're going to have Mike Wheeler, who's president and chief legal officer of Patriot Software here in Canton.
I
He's going
know
to.
Mike.
Oh, you know Mike?
I know Patriot. Yeah, Patriot HR, Patriot Software, and anyway, yes.
Oh, well, shout out to
Interesting.
Patriot Software. Well, it's I have been a magistrate for 7 years, and it's been amazing. I'm actually technically not a magistrate. I'm transitioning into a role at
Uh-huh.
Patriot as well, so I'll
Is
be
that
working
right?
there.
We were talking about that. So you're
Yeah, so
going
that's
into
Patriot. Yeah. Yeah,
okay,
so that's so fun.
yeah.
But Mike is going to be sharing about the use of AI and technology in
Interesting.
preventing and fighting human trafficking, which is an issue that I haven't seen addressed at any conference before. So that'll be
Wow.
fun.
How cool.
Combating exploitation, abuse, and trauma. Personal stories, again, from those who have overcome, Ohio national and international updates, and advocacy and collaboration. How you and your organization can help be an advocate and collaborate with other organizations to just see this, brought to an end in Stark County. So come ready to be educated, inspired, equipped, meet really great people. We just welcome anyone who wants to come learn. And also we are offering also for free, we were approved for 6 hours of continuing education credit
Awesome.
for attorneys, educators, and nurses, CEUs and CLEs. So if you need that, come on down and get your credit.
I love that. Michelle, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for highlighting this very important topic. To those out there who are considering going, if you are seeing this or hearing this after May 18, 2024, please reach out to myself or Michelle Hay for more information or to be connected to the organization, to the ministry. There's more work to be done. If you're someone who's interested in helping or learning more, let us know. Or if you're someone who's concerned or have been a victim of and are looking for resources, please reach out to us. We would love to get you connected to the resources that can help you. I'm excited to have had you here today. I learned a lot. It is a heavy topic, but it's not something we should bury our head in the sands and not face because it is real, it is happening. And if we want to protect our family, friends, children, and our community, we have to be educated on these things. So, Michelle, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for generating the interest in this.
Thank you so much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, May 18th, 2024. Make sure you guys, the free event, right? It's coming. It's here. We'd love for you guys to be in attendance. Love for you to be a part. And if you want more information, please reach out to us. We'd love to help you with this. It's been another episode of Lucas Live. We are here to educate, motivate, and liberate. We want to teach you something you didn't know before. And then we want to motivate you to do something with it because education without motivation leads to stagnation and we don't do anything. And then we need to be liberated, as in set free, to live the lives we were called to live. Somebody feels called and compelled to be involved in helping those that are victims of human trafficking, or you want to be educated more. And this episode was the thing that sparked inside of you something that you've been thinking about. You just didn't know what to do. Please reach out. I will connect you to Michelle. She'll connect you to the right people. We'll get you involved. We'll get you connected. There's more help that's needed, I'm sure, than there are people who are willing to help. So if you're willing to help and you want to get involved and you want to get educated, please reach out to us. We thank you so much for being here with us. We'll see you next time on Lucas Live. Everybody, have a great day.